Great. Welcome everyone to our fall Collegiate MAXI competition. My name is Amy Steinbicker and I'm the Executive Administrator for the DMAW EF. And I'm joined by our event coordinators, Courtney Lewis, who is President of the DMAW EF Board of Directors, and Leanne Doyle, who also serves on the board. We are now ready for presentation 2, which is our first team from American University. Before the team gets started, I would like to introduce our judges. We have 3 judges with us today: Emily Cooper of MWD, Jamie Grams of PMG, and Sydney Painter of Fuse Fundraising. Judges, we will let American University get started.
Okay, thank you so much for that introduction. As stated, we are the first team from American University, and we will be presenting on the 65 Years of Service campaign. My name is Alana Cunningham.
I'm Emma Delaney.
I'm Campbell Slavin.
And I'm Amaya Bartet.
Okay, and we can jump right into our agenda. This is what we're going to discuss today. Just give you a good overview of what we came up with for the 65 Years of Service and our ideas. So this is a great team shot of all of us from left to right. It's Alana, Campbell, Emma, and Amaya. So we can jump right into demographics. What exactly is the background of SCA? What do they look like? So it's important to understand who our target audience is for this campaign. We know we're targeting alumni, but what about our alumni can we use to tailor our strategy to communicate our purpose more effectively? So looking at location-wise, alumni live in all 50 states and DC, with Pennsylvania being the top state. For demographics for male versus female, female is slightly higher with 52%, and our ages range from under 20 to over 65, so we do have a large age range. However, the majority lie between 20 to 35 years old, so that gives us a good look at, we're looking at millennials and Gen X roughly. And in total, there's over 85,000 alumni that have served since 1960. So then we have to look at who is donating in the US. As of 2021, the US population, 69% of the US population donates to charities. So all these numbers are for charities. In the past year, environmental donations have increased 7.2% in 1 year. So that gives us a good look at our organization has a great opportunity to capitalize on this increasing amount of donors. 84% of millennials are donated and 59% of Gen X. So those were our 2 main target audiences that we're looking for at this campaign. And then in total, in the last fiscal year, so 2021, there was a total of 484.85 million donations to nonprofits specifically. And this is a 4% increase from 2020. So we can go into our SWOT analysis and our objectives. So for our SWOT, the strengths are we serve in all 50 states, and our partners include very large partners like UPS, American Express, Southwest, BP. So we have that large visibility. There's high visibility across the country, and we do have these nationally established partners that can help us in anything that we do. Some weaknesses, a lot of our alumni are just donating at the current moment, and they're not getting any direct benefit back to them. Our alumni span such a large time frame, so it's hard to really target maybe just 20-year-olds or just 60-year-olds since we have that large range. And the majority of our alumni are young, so a lot of them are just getting started in their career, and they might not have that disposable income to really donate a good amount of what they currently earn to our organization. And there is no central location of where the majority of our alumni lie. In the previous slide, we saw that the main state was Pennsylvania, but there was also West Coast states. So for in-person events, it's hard to get everyone there. For opportunities, there's a more open climate to host events post-COVID. So we can do more regional events to get people engaged, and it doesn't have to just be online. And there is a rise of donating. So in the past couple fiscal years, we have seen a couple percentage increase of donations, which makes us very hopeful for the next couple of years that it keeps increasing. For threats, we're competing with a bunch of other organizations for donations. Through our research, we found that each average American donates to around 4 nonprofits per year. So we're competing for that spot to make sure that we secure their donations. And another threat could be a threat of recession or shutdown, economic shutdown. We saw that with COVID, and that could happen again, and people are going to be less inclined to spend their money on things that aren't a need for them.
Okay, so for our campaign analysis, our group spent time doing research regarding other nonprofit organizations and programs like the SCA and initiatives they have for engagement and fundraising as they relate to their alumni specifically. So in this research, we scoped the SCA website, including the SCA network, which is the existing alumni networking portal, in search of an alumni fundraising platform or semblance of something like a giving effort for specifically geared towards alumni. And we realized they didn't have one. So for our campaign, we created one. The campaign, as you can see right here, is called the Visionary Circle. And as it reads, the Visionary Circle is an exclusive alumni network philanthropic partnership created to engage and align the alumni's charitable interests with the SCA's environmental efforts. So essentially what this translates to is this is a platform exclusively for alumni and family of alumni to donate to a platform that is for them. Alumni will join the Visionary Circle once they contribute a certain amount of money to the SCA. The Visionary Circle has 5 monetary levels of contribution that are included within the platform, which I'll go into more on the next slide. The only requirements are that donors must be alumni or family of alumni, and they must donate a minimum of $50 to become a member of the Visionary Circle. As for the impact, we believe the potential impact of the Visionary Circle could be instrumental for the growth and fundraising efforts for the SCA, as well as continued involvement for alumni. We feel that with programs like these, alumni are more inclined to stay connected to the SCA if they're included within an exclusive partnership like the Visionary Circle. And we also believe that with the influx of donations coming from alumni and non-Visionary Circle members, that this will be able to provide funding for multiple environmental programs and initiatives within the SCA itself. And now I'll move on to the more specific details of the program. We named it the Visionary Circle after the SCA founder, Liz Putnam, who is recognized as a visionary in her efforts for environmental conservation and the ways in which she sparked change through community and climate change efforts. As I said before, and as you can see here, there are 5 levels of monetary contribution that fall under these groups. Monetary levels range from $50 to $5,000, which we kind of thought created sort of like a pendulum for inclusivity. And in the fine print below, you can see the specific gifts of incentive that members of the Visionary Circle receive upon their entry contribution. Gifts include memorabilia and merchandise of the SCA, like a water bottle or a tote bag, and gifts of higher contribution will receive gifts such as a handwritten thank you note from Liz Putnam herself, or a tree planted in your name, and all groups and levels receive pamphlets of information regarding the impact of their donation. So regardless of how much one is able to donate in a specific amount of time, they can see the ways in which they're making a difference.
So with this program, we wanted to establish some objectives. So we want to establish top of mind awareness in the Visionary Circle of the whole program itself in 50% of our alumni, our target market, by the end of December 2023. And we want to persuade 20% of the target market to donate an average amount of $100, which you saw was the second tier. So an average amount of that by the end of December 2023.
So next we will be looking at the marketing strategies that we will be using to promote the Visionary Circle and SCA in general. So our first strategy is promoting the Visionary Circle. For promoting the Visionary Circle is a 65 years of SCA video. So this video will showcase pictures of every SCA class starting from 1957 and ending with 2022 to show the progression and growth of the organization. It will also include interviews from alumni verbalizing how the SCA has changed their life and inspired them. And at the end, we will have current members, which will introduce the Visionary Circle and encourage alumni to get involved. Next, please. So these are a few just pictures that we will be using for the video, and just a few pictures to kind of show you the idea of the 65 years video. So next for the social post. So these are the current Instagram content, and next we'll have a few ideas of what the Instagram will look like. So we were just thinking to sort of use more of the SEA colors and kind of have more of a constant feel for the Instagram. So for example, this one highlights current environmental issues and connects to alumni, and then informative and invokes emotional appeal. It's also visually appealing, as you can see. Similarly for the Facebook content, same thing, kind of using the SEA colors and just having a constant feel for the social media. So these are two Facebook content pictures that we created.
This is also a mock brochure that we would send out to our alumni to really invoke nostalgia in them. We really wanted to focus on the past 65 years and then what can be done in the next 65 and how they can lend their support, whether it be their monetary support or their volunteering or just online support to help us achieve success in the next 65 years. So on the next slide, you can see that we outlined some of the more historical and monumental events that we've achieved in the last 65 years. And we introduce a visionary circle in this brochure and give them a clear call to action on where they can go if they want to help with the next 65.
Okay, so you're probably wondering how much is all of this going to cost, and how are we going to evaluate this and see how this ties in with our objectives. So here we have a budget breakdown. Sort of the brunt of our budget is going to go towards those visionary circle promotional items, 68%, if you will. We think that it's extremely important in order to sort of keep that relationship with our alumni and make them feel special and like they're actually doing something if we give back. So obviously with all of those items, as Campbell mentioned, the tote bag, a tumbler, a gold pin, simple things like that, we want to put them all into these little gift boxes and then send them out to show our appreciation for all of their donations. Once again, gift box, that's just the production and also like placing orders to ensure that the promotional items for that visionary circle get sent out easily. Then the next part of our budget is going to be 11.5% dedicated to our video promotion. We want to make sure that the video has great quality, great production. We don't want it to be sort of a careless iPhone video that you would post on Facebook, let's say. So if we want to release a video that really shows how much we appreciate and are grateful for our alumni and sort of get in their heads about like, we want to create this connection with you, we think that that deserves a good portion of our budget. Then looking into sort of like Instagram and Facebook posts, I mean, posting on Instagram and Facebook doesn't cost anything. However, if we wanted to, you know, boost our post above other people's posts and create more engagement, that's also an option. And then as far as direct mailers go, we dedicated 4.9% of the budget to that. And as you'll see in the next slide, we'll talk about how much we think the response rate is going to be for the direct mailers versus the video promo. But the total for all of this is going to be $99,951.60. So as far as evaluation and measurement go, our response rate for direct mailers that we believe would be 3%. So this is a pretty good response rate for people who are getting things sent to their house, because I know personally, usually I never respond. However, if I were an alumni for a certain organization and I got a direct mailer, I'd be more inclined to go check out whatever it is that's in that sort of pamphlet. And then for the video promo, we had a response rate of about 2%. This is the reason being for both of these percentages are our target audience is Gen X and millennials, which is great because, you know, they're sort of more technically inclined than maybe our older audience would be. So that's why we believe that these response rates would be as good as they are. As far as the return on investment for both of those, we used very similar numbers when calculating this. For the direct mailer, we had an ROI of 30.8%, and then the video promo, we had an ROI of 13%, which is always good that it's positive. But we thought that this was really great. It was a really great return on investment, and especially for these two groups that we were really trying to tie in. I want to mention, however, we only accounted for the numbers from this campaign. So we do understand that there are different expenses and different types of funding that are going to contribute to the profit margin and ROI and other things as far as budgeting. But this is just strictly for the campaign. We also have an appendix that we attached if you want to see more about the budget breakdown.
And in conclusion, we forecast that followers and engagement of our socials within the proposed content will increase, alumni engagement will increase, and websites and donation traffic will increase as well. And we hope that our strategies will lead to an increase in individuals becoming more environmentally conscious by continuing to re-engage with the organization.
I'm gonna have to stop you right there.
We're done.
Time is up, but we are now ready to move into the Q&A portion of the competition. Our judges will have 10 minutes to ask the team questions, and we suggest that all judges and students show their video and unmute as appropriate. And Sydney, if you want to go ahead and start the first question, I'm sure they're ready for you.
Great, thank you. Really great job on your presentation, you guys. I really love the visionary circle and all the different giving levels. I also love the 65 years campaign that you guys put together. I'm curious what the most challenging part of this project was for all of you.
I'll start. It was definitely budgeting for me. I am more of a PR marketing student, so I haven't really taken that much time with figuring out like ROIs. I've learned about, you know, calculating them. However, I haven't actually taken the time to do so. But once I sort of sat down and I was looking at the budget and the nice little chart that I was given, so thank you for giving that as far as averages, it was very easy to sort of figure out how many things or like how many items should cost what, and how that should fit into the budget. What should we allocate like more money towards and things like that.
For me, it was more just starting off the project. Once we already had the idea, it was pretty easy to kind of do everything else, the social media posts, and because we've been doing this for studying it for a few years. But coming up with the first idea, I think, was the most challenging for our group, I would say.
Yeah, I would go off of that. I would say the SCA is a pretty established company to begin with. So we would come up with ideas and then we would do more research and we would see that the SCA had already implemented something very similar. So just bouncing back from that and trying to get a little bit more creative on, I mean, they've been in business for 65 years. So just trying to find more ways that they can really advertise to their target audience was a little difficult.
And for me, not to sound too repetitive, but I think kind of going off of what Alana was saying, the SCA, again, is very established and trying to find an initiative that kind of hit on all the points we were trying to engage upon, which was alumni engagement and fundraising, and trying to kind of find something that encompassed all of that was not necessarily challenging, but it was something to consider. And then once we figured it out, I think it was pretty seamless from there.
Yeah, I can tell that you guys did a lot of research for this project. Did you learn anything interesting that you didn't know before?
I would say when I was researching the donations and how much like the average American donates per year, I mean, personally, I do not donate at 21 years old right now, but it's also very interesting to see how much people donate. I think one of the main statistics that I found was that people with lower incomes donate more than people with higher incomes. So just seeing how that averages out was just very like personally interesting.
I really appreciated how, like, when we did research into other organizations and how they came forward with fundraising efforts, the different ways in which they did that. And I had never really taken the time to look into that, except for the organizations that I'm super familiar with. So exploring that was really interesting, and seeing the different ways that other nonprofits have come up with initiatives, specifically either for alumni or just for the general population was fascinating to me. And it'll definitely be something I pay more attention to in the future.
Yeah, I would say similar to Alana, seeing like the sort of results that we put on our slides as far as like who's donating and things like where are they from, or how much does the US population donate, that was definitely very surprising and interesting to me.
Not to be repetitive, but similar to Alana and Emma, I think what was most surprising was the statistics, both for SCA and donating in general in the US. I thought was really interesting.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Jamie, do you have any questions for them?
Sure, thanks, Sydney. Great presentation, guys. Very entertaining, very interesting. I love all the thought given to all the levels. I just want to hear a little bit from each of you about what you found most enjoyable about this process and collaborating with your fellow teammates.
I mean, I'll speak first. I think that honestly, like having this group be all together for the past couple of weeks and like just figuring things out together, and going through the process of like understanding what the SCA is all about and trying to come up with ideas, I think that was like a really enjoyable part. Even though it's not necessarily like focused on exactly what we did, but I think that was like a really good part, and that's how we were able to come up with a good presentation to show you guys today, because we all sort of enjoyed getting together and then doing that. So I feel like that's like baseline, what I enjoyed, but if anyone else has anything to say.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that. I really liked bouncing ideas off of this group. I think we all came very prepared and we all had a lot of different ideas. And we've all worked together in the past. I mean, we all are the same major at American. So it was nice just to sit down and work with a team that like is very well trusted. And I feel like I respect everyone on the team and we all have great ideas. So it was really nice to work together.
Yeah, I agree. I think even though it was a challenge to come up with the ideas, I think it was really fun to sort of research on the organization, challenge ourselves, and kind of come up with this fun idea.
For me personally, I feel like it's not often that you get to be creative in college, and like in our majors, we have an opportunity to be creative more often than not, which I personally am very grateful for. But even more so, it's not often that you get to be creative for a cause. And I really enjoyed the opportunity to get to put something together with this team that can potentially create really positive change.
Will you let SCA run with this program, or are you going to keep it all to yourselves?
No, we'll let them have it. Seems like a great organization. So
Great, thanks. Emily, any questions?
Yeah, great presentation. I really like the visionary circle, and it's clear you guys did a ton of research. Could you talk a little bit more about the research process?
I'd be happy starting out if you guys don't mind. Again, we did a lot of preliminary research on other organizations and the ways in which they make asks, and they have their fundraising portals. And this isn't necessarily based off of anything that we saw, but we sort of took different organizations and what they do and compiled it into something that we thought would be fitting for the SCA specifically. Just in looking at specific data that I know that Alana and Emma and I could speak to, and what we could create from that data, talking specifically to a demographic or a target audience. So yeah, I would say probably just general research and then filtering it down to more specific, people.
Yeah, I mean, going off of that, I think we started our research for the donation specifically as just like who was donating in America. And then we filtered it down to who's donating to nonprofits and then who our target audience is donated to nonprofits. I think we also took a look at a lot of fiscal year budgets from the SCA and other nonprofits just to kind of like cross-check our work. But it was also very interesting to see how much money they make and how much like donations they get from maybe larger organizations. As mentioned previously, they have really large partners, and we didn't really realize that there was a separation between like large partner donations and like regular American donations in their final total. So just researching the difference between those is really helpful.
Yeah, and then going off of Alana with the sort of budgeting and looking at annual reports and things like that, just to make sure that we are on the right track. We were also looking into specifically for the video promotion, just sort of like average production costs for like a nonprofit educational video, like something like that, which is like what helped us to sort of outline the budget overall for this presentation. So that was something that was really helpful to look into.
Yeah, I feel like, especially personally, I didn't have as much experience with nonprofits, so I feel like the research was really necessary. So we really took the time to like go through both SEA's website and just like data in general to really come up with something that would make sense.
Thank you. Do any other judges have any questions?
Yeah, I just wonder in your experience and in the process of researching this, if you've discussed or are familiar with like recurring support or like subscription-based support and how that might be applicable to this.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, are you saying in other organizations, have we done research regarding subscription?
No, I just like wonder what your familiarity is with like recurring support programs.
Sure. Personally, I mean, I know that it exists, and that's kind of like where the starting point for all of this was knowing that this is something that occurs and it's common in philanthropic efforts to have a subscription-based donation platform. I personally didn't know much about it. I'm not subscribed to any of them as of yet. Again, I'm 21, and there are a lot of causes that I'm passionate about, but I hope to subscribe to one eventually. But for now, I just know about them, and I think that they're probably just based off of data really, really successful, and they can make a really steady impact because of that sort of consistency that would come with that. And I think that's what we were hoping for in a program like this, that it would be sort of a steady source of funding for different projects and a way to really engage with alumni and try to find a way to get them to be incentivized to stay. And then by putting them or allowing them to contribute to something bigger than themselves and even exclusive within the organization seemed like a really solid way to do that.
Thank you. And so it is time for us to wrap up. And so I'd like to thank American University Team 1 for serving as presentation 2 today. I'd also like to thank our judges for being here with us, Emily, Jamie, and Sydney. On behalf of the DMAW Board of Directors, thank you for serving as judges. At American Team 1, you are free to go. Remember that we will be sharing the competition results by noon on Monday, and judges may remain in the meeting and turn off your audio and video to score. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.